Let's be real. Today, pretty much every company on the planet runs on IT. The amount of critical data we're storing on these systems is just exploding, and our dependency on them, it's absolute. Now, this makes them a massive target for attacks that are getting more common, way more sophisticated, and a whole lot more damaging. The question really isn't if an attack is going to happen, but when, and how ready you'll be for it.
In this quote right here, it just nails it. We're not talking about accidental outages anymore, These are deliberate, calculated attacks. They are specifically designed to cause the most chaos possible and to fly under the radar. This is the reality every single organization is facing right now.
So this really sets the stage for what is, let's face it, a digital battlefield. And on this battlefield, just sitting around and waiting to get hit, that's not a strategy. Organizations have to find a way to proactively test their own defenses, to find their weaknesses before the real bad guys do. What's so wild about all this is how it all connects. I mean, we have more confidential data than we know what to do with, and our businesses literally can't run with these IT systems. It's like the perfect storm for attackers who use stuff like ransomware to hold companies hostage, and if they get in, well, that breached info can be sold off to the highest bidder or just dumped online for the entire world to see. The stakes have just never been this high. So, okay, how do you even begin to prepare for that? How do you find your weak spots before an attacker does? Well, that's where we get to the heart of what we're talking about today, defining the professional discipline of penetration testing. Let's break this down, because the words here are really important. A pen test is basically a simulated cyber attack against your own company. But check out these keywords: organized, targeted, and the big one, authorized. This isn't just random chaos, it's a controlled professional job that uses the exact same tactics as a real attacker, all to see how well your defenses actually stand up. Now, this is a super important point. A pen test is not the same thing as a simple vulnerability scan. A vulnerability assessment, that's all automated. A tool just runs through your network looking for a big list of known problems. And yeah, it's useful, but it's totally predictable. A pen test, on the other hand, combines that automation with the creativity and intuition of a real human expert. That person thinks like an attacker, they chain together little issues to create a big one, and they find these complex flaws that no automated tool would ever catch. That right there is the difference maker. And of course, not all tests are created equal. Deciding which one you need really comes down to one simple question. What are you trying to figure out? A black box test is the purest simulation of an outside attacker. They start with almost zero information. A gray box test gives them a little bit of inside info, maybe a user account, to see what a disgruntled employee could pull off. And then you've got the white box test. That's a full open book exam where they get everything: source code, diagrams, the whole shebang. It's less about simulating an attack and more about finding every single crack in the foundation. We also have to think about the perspective. An external test is all about asking, how strong are our castle walls? It simulates someone on the internet trying to break their way in. But an internal test, that's just as important. It starts from a scenario where the attacker is already inside, and it asks a much scarier question. So what happens now? It tests how you handle a threat that's already past your first line of defense. All of this sounds an awful lot like hacking, doesn't it? And yeah, in a way, it is. But the critical difference, the thing that separates a professional pen tester from a criminal, is a super strict legal and ethical framework. This is the absolute bedrock of the entire profession. You have to understand, these testers operate in a world with some very serious legal consequences. As you can see here, countries all over the globe have laws like the CFAA in the US or GDPR in Europe that make unauthorized computer access a crime. Trying to do this work without a clear legal mandate isn't just unprofessional, it can be a felony. And that brings us to the practical rules of the road. Before any test even thinks about starting, a professional absolutely must get explicit written consent. They have to work strictly inside the agreed-upon scope, no wandering off mission. Their job is to find vulnerabilities without breaking anything, and to treat any sensitive data they find with total confidentiality. This checklist right here, it's completely non-negotiable. Okay, so with all the legal and ethical guardrails firmly in place, now we can get into the how. A professional pen test isn't just guesswork, it's a structured mission. So let's walk through the 8-stage process that guides basically every single engagement.
So what's the playbook?
This is it. This 8-stage process is the roadmap. It takes a tester from that very first phone call all the way to the final report. It's a logical flow that's designed to mimic how a real attacker would think, from planning and spying to the actual attack and getting entrenched, and then finally achieving their objective.
we're going to take a closer look at a few of these key phases.
So, funny enough, the most important stage actually happens before a single packet is ever sent across the network. The pre-engagement phase is where everything gets hammered out. The goals, which systems are in scope, the rules of the game. And it's all put down in a contract. If you get this part wrong, you don't just risk the test, you can risk the entire business.
All right, now we get to the action. This is the stuff that most people think of when they hear hacking. It kicks off with exploitation. That's getting your first foothold. From there, it's all about post-exploitation, which means getting more control over that first system you broke into. Then comes the really critical part, lateral movement. And this isn't just some techie term. It's how a tiny breach in the marketing department's server spirals into a complete takeover of the company's financial records. It's all about using that one entry point to jump from system to system, going deeper and deeper into the network.
But the job isn't done just because you got in. The final stage is where the real value was actually delivered. This means giving the client a super detailed report, including a step-by-step proof of concept, so they can see exactly how it was done. It means cleaning up all your tools and backdoors. And most importantly, it means giving the client clear, actionable advice on how to fix the problems you found. The goal was never just to break in. It's to help them build back even stronger.
So, what are the big takeaways here? First, remember a pen test is a professional, authorized process. This is not rogue hacking. Second, it's just a snapshot in time. Security is a moving target, not a one-time fix. Third, the real goal isn't just the thrill of the hack. It's to manage actual business risk. And finally, never forget that the report, the documentation, is every bit as valuable as the technical exploit itself.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought. Make no mistake about it. Your defenses are being tested right now, constantly, by attackers all over the world. So the only real question is, who do you want holding the playbook? The criminals or the professionals you hired to make you stronger?